right, Afzal Ashraf is an assistant professor of international relations at the University of Nottingham and counterterrorism analyst. He joins us from London. Professor, the US, UK, and Israel say Iran was responsible for this. Iran denies it and says the three countries are waging psychological warfare. What do you think is going on here? Is it even possible to find out the real story?
Well, I think it will be possible eventually, based on previous experience. But what we can be pretty certain of is that the states involved are involved in propaganda campaigns to support their political policies. That is not new. It has happened in many instances, and it happens regularly. So we just have to approach this thing in a balanced fashion. For example, your introduction to this topic is very different from the introduction that the way the news is being depicted in the UK. You have given a brief background to several instances involving Iran and other countries that have led up to this event. The way the media in the UK and elsewhere is reporting it as a single event where the West, UK, US in particular, are blaming Iran for having done something. They're not even mentioning the denial that Iran has made. Now, I think the important thing for the media and for the public is to keep an open mind and not to take sides, because all states are involved in propaganda, which involves misinformation and disinformation, and which sadly results often in conflicts. Ever since and including the Vietnam War, all the major wars that have occurred after propaganda and disinformation has been spread throughout the international community. And of course, it is the ordinary citizens of the countries involved, including the countries that go to war. It's the ordinary citizens who are soldiers that pay the ultimate price. And I think it's good that we keep an open mind and a balanced approach to this, and demand from the states concerned evidence, not just assumptions and not just innuendo. We need evidence in order to find out what actually happened.
Yeah, certainly, and some excellent points there that you make. There were several incidents leading up to this, as you pointed out. Does this point to something potentially bigger going on behind the scenes?
Well, of course it does, and you very briefly touched on this. This is all to do with the position of Iran in not just the Middle East, but also in international politics. It is considered by many countries to be a pariah and a threat, and there have been policies and strategies put in place to damage the country, to force a regime change. Now, that does not mean that one is defending Iran. Iran, I think, deserves criticism in many ways, just as many other countries do as well. So this is part of a wider issue that you touched upon with the deal that was agreed between major European countries, including the United States, to lift sanctions on Iran. And of course, that deal was unilaterally, if you like, dumped by President Trump. And what that has meant is that Iran is once again suffering crippling sanctions. And there is a theory that Iran is trying to provoke a tension that might lead to an escalation. And it is that escalation that might lead to, if you like, the reintroduction of an agreement. Now, that theory is without any foundation, and more of a hypothesis than a theory, but it would be a dangerous one if that is really the case. One can criticize Iran for a whole number of unwise policies, but Iran does not usually make irrational decisions, and it would be an irrational decision.
All right, and we'll leave it there. Afzal Ashraf joining us from London. Thank you for your time.